What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode, another week. This week I want to talk about how to become a professional triathlete, what are the requirements, what is Ironman, challenge, PTO, anti-doping, and actually my approach about the whole topic. Let's get into it. First things first, you do need a license, so you do need to get a professional triathlete license from different organizations. In order to get that from Ironman or Challenge, you need to get from the National Federation a professional license to be an athlete. And let's have a look how the different ones are. So the first one, which is for me relevant, the National Federation, I wrote them an email, it's for Germany. They actually just need to pay 250 bucks, euros that is, and you get your license. No questions asked. A bit disappointing, to be honest. When you look at the other countries, I think it was a lot better done. So USA, for example, is much better done. There are more selective requirements, which I really liked. It's more honest. You don't just have to pay. So there, for example, it's a top 10 result of a World Championship event like Kona or ITU. Then you have at age group nationals, the USAT, there you have to perform well if you want to get your license, or a race that had at least 20k prize purse and get a top result there, top 3 amateur qualifying event, and then you get your license in the States. UK again, very different, also like that one. There's percentage based in time, so it's percentage based, 10% of the winner's time downgraded. That time you need to have if you get your license, and there are special rules for like local events like the famous Outlaw Triathlon in the UK. They need to have 4% of the winner's time in order to get your National Federation license as an amateur. So let's say you got your license from the National Federation and you're ready to go to apply for Ironman or Challenge. I'm gonna go into what you have to do for Ironman. There it's actually quite easy. You just have to shoot them an email and with your National Federation license attached to it, and then you have to pay annually $900 dollars that is, and then you get your professional license for Ironman. With those $900 per year and a pro license for Ironman, you can race any race on the calendar. If it's 70.3 or Ironman, you just need to adhere to the deadlines, which is for the pros 30 days before the event. You need to sign up for the event. That's why you see a lot of pros sign up for all the races. They're just on the start list somewhere, and sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. It's just the way they do it, it seems. When you look at Challenge family, they also have half distance and full distance races around the globe. Not as many as Ironman, but there, for example, it's the same procedure. You shoot them a mail with your National Federation pro license. Challenge family actually has no fees, but there's a little but. There it is, for example, per event. So if you're ranked between 1st and 205th in the overall Challenge family ranking, you pay no fees when you go to an event and you can just race. You pay 50% of the fees if you're ranked 251st to 400th place in the world at the challenge ranking, and if you're in lower ranking, 401, it's up to the race director how he does it with you, but that's the way challenge family does it with the pros. Same thing for challenge, it's also 30 days before deadline. You need to shoot them a mail, let them know that you're coming to the race, and then you're ready to go. Let's get into the topic of anti-doping. It's, especially with me being a professional athlete soon, it's really important to me to be clearly outspoken about that topic. That's an absolute no-go. And I actually had a look for the different federations, how they did it. Ironman, for example, had a really nice page to it. They're linked with WADA. There they had a 69-page document about it. You can research your medication and medical exemptions, for example. If you're European, it's nice to know as an amateur as well. If you're European and you're racing in the States, and let's say you have asthma medication, you need to get a medical exemption from the USA. The one in Europe does not count there. Have a look on the website, it's really well done from Ironman. Chapeau. Challenge, I actually didn't find so much about anti-doping. I don't know why, maybe I didn't find it properly, but was a bit disappointed. Didn't find so much there. But yeah, anyways, for me, one thing about the psychology of doping is really interesting, because let's say you decide to become the best athlete you want to be, right? That's the end why you go to professional sports. You like dedicate your whole life and energy to the sport. And let's say you're doping and you're winning everything. Even if you get all the, let's say, all the money, if you're Tour de France or whatever sport it is, you get all the money, win everything. In the back of the mind, you always know, or you never know actually, would I have won without or not? So like for me, for example, I want to know how far can I push my body. If you take anything like doping, you will never know. You will never know. Yeah. So you can also report concerns on the website on Ironman. That's something I really liked. So if you notice something, whatever, you can report the concerns on the Ironman website, and they will take it into consideration. That's something I really liked. Then regarding qualifications for the Ironman World Championships in Kona for the Ironman Company Federation, there it's always a period from end of August to end of August, same as age groupers, and that time you can qualify at any full Ironman race for the World Champs, which is of course something you want as a professional athlete, even more than age grouper. That's where all the brands are. That means you're in the top 50 best men on the globe in that year for sure. That's a massive accomplishment, and it's getting more difficult every year. So that will be one of my big first goals for sure. They changed the system at Ironman actually. It used to be a point system, but nowadays for the pros it's between 1 and 2, I think sometimes 3, but it's 1 or 2 places for male and female pro. Then applies the drop-down menu. So let's say the first guy already has a slot, it will drop down, second gets it, and so forth. So kind of the same roll-down principle as with age groups. Then let's talk about the prize money, the raw prize money you get from the events. There will be of course some sponsorship money, you get all kinds of bonuses and things like that when you have a sponsor eventually. But raw from the company itself, what do you get for Ironman, what do you get for Challenge? Let's have a look. So for Ironman, let's say the race has a 50k prize purse for the pros, that's the lowest. There the first place will get $7,500. That is not a lot of money, so that if you have a 100k prize purse, there's a 15k bonus for the first guy. If you have 150k prize purse, you have 25k. If you have a real big prize purse, 750,000 for male and female, there the first guy gets $125,000. That is, I assume, Kona, where it's the biggest prize purse like that. Otherwise, it drops down to 5th or 6th place, I think, and then that's about it. After that, no money for you. Let's go for Challenge Family prize purse. There it's a bit different. It's with ranking points. So if you win a long distance event from Challenge, there will be 750 points. And if you win a half distance event, it'll be 250 points. They will add up depending, you gotta do of course the Challenge family races in order to get the points. And at the end of the year there will be a ranking. Winner has to have around 2,000 points, maybe a bit more. At the moment, Patrick Lange, first man, is at 1,390 points. And the winner, male and female, will each get $12,000 as a yearly bonus from Challenge. Not a ton, to be honest, if you put it all into consideration. But if you're anyways doing those races and you're good enough, you can do it. Then one big player that came into the whole triathlon scene, most triathletes know. If you're not a triathlete, I'll tell you about it. It's a so-called PTO, Professional Triathlete Organization. They have been coming in early 2020, and they have been really taking the sport by storm in terms of media and support for the pros, especially in the COVID time. What I've seen on social media and everywhere has been massive. They came in the first year with $2.5 million for support, so that blows already all the Ironman and Challenge out of the window. for now, but they went in, supported events that had no prize purse, gave it prize purse for the pros, so they didn't have to travel far, even small events. So this has really been amazing. It's also known to support rookie triathletes and rookie pros, what I will be. So there they have the 2.5 million ranking pot. At the end of the year they will pay that out, and in order to get the ranking points, it's very interesting, they didn't do it on the rank itself in the race you did, but they did it on the time that you covered the distance. Very interesting. The PTO has their own algorithm to it that takes into account the terrain, the climate, the weather, the historic times and all that, and based on that they calculate ranking points, and that's how you get ranked number 1, 2, 3, all the way down to, I'm not sure, actually 25 or 50 even, and the payment will go all the way down. So even if you're like a less experienced pro, or like just didn't have had a bad season, you'll still get a paycheck at the end of the year, and it's massive for the sport, to be honest. I think the PTO is doing something really great for the sport. It even forces companies like Ironman to up their prize purses and maybe even make new events, because the PTO will be pushing. They create new events already. One big event was Challenge Daytona, which had the best live coverage ever seen. Yes, it was a bit easier because it was on a track, biking and all, but the level they did it by far. By now, also with the Collins Cup, has been really extraordinary and incredible for the sport. More exciting to watch. That's something that's, of course, if you're not in the sport itself, watching Ironman Hawaii 8 hours, you don't know every single character. It's not exciting to watch. So yeah, they're working on that and they're making it more interesting, so the sport has a great future. So last and final question, how do I cope with being a pro triathlete? So I will be going pro in 2023, and there's a lot of things behind that, like psychology and physical fitness, obviously, your physiology, that has to get you there. You can just say, how do you become a pro? Well, just win every single race in age group, turn pro, win every single race, and you're good to go. Nowadays it's not like that anymore. It's also a lot of media and marketing, like I said, but of course in the end your physical performance is the most important one, and you're there to win races. And so how do I approach this? Let's see. So I think in order to have the best rate of improvement, in order to achieve my big goals in the sport, even as a professional triathlete, you need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on your own learning. It's the same as an age group. As if you're outcome driven and just think about a placing result, especially in the race itself, you could crumble for sure. You need to have, on the way towards there, the focus on your journey. You need to love the journey and be fully immersed in that in order to get the best out of yourself. So I need to focus on my improvement, and I need to focus on the learning of the pro racing itself. I mean, when you hear to other guys talk, it's not magic either, it's not rocket science. So compare the difference to age group is, of course, it's a completely different race dynamic. So if you want to break it up, okay, you need to have a really good takeout speed in a swim, 200, 400 meters. You gotta be there, really high speed, and have the physical capacity to then drop down to your Ironman pace, which has to be fast enough, your zone 2 pace, high zone 2 pace, in order to be in the first pack. Very simple, the swim, that's it. Maybe there's some surges in the swim itself. You gotta keep your eyes open for that, so you don't miss a swim pack, and then suddenly the group is gone and you're alone. So always gotta be more aware. There's gonna be more movement in the swim. And the bike the same. Not rocket science. It's definitely not what age group is at the moment, which is most likely a steady wattage. That's not happening. So you can just break it up and train for that. Hey, I gotta do a 180k Ironman course with 5 times 3 minutes VO2 max. Right out on the swim is probably 15-20 minutes. It's your 70.3 power and all that stuff. And then in the middle, like 2 times 10 minutes, 70.3 power, all that stuff. Your body is gotta be physically ready to do that, otherwise you'll just get spit out the back. Then when it comes to the run, I think there it's most likely quite steady, but of course your steady pace has to be high enough in order to mix it up with the boys. So there are just certain numbers that you gotta be hitting, and if you don't have the belief that you hit those numbers, or don't have the self-belief that you can even get close to that, I think you shouldn't get a professional license. If you have people competing like Christian Blumenfeld, he just did a 7:20, 2:35 run. If you don't believe you can also run a 2:35 at some point, I think it's also an issue. So I'm just gonna focus on my own improvement, get as fit as possible, that I'm ready for sub 8 as my first pro race. That's gonna be in 2023. Easier said than done. So why do I pick so big goals? It's not arrogance, don't mix it up, those two. It's self-belief. And also, if you have big goals out there, don't be afraid to speak them out and put it out there in the universe, because you gotta put them out there. And if you have people, naysayers so to say, come at you then and say, hey, that's not possible, that's not your problem, that's their problem, because they lack the belief when you say something like that. So when I say something like that, it's just something that I'm thinking, that I'm doing, and I know if you want to be up there with the big guys, you just gotta have that belief. If I go in there now, maybe I can do an 8:20 Ironman. Yeah, well, you're nowhere, man. Just like today, just like at the moment, I'm not physically ready to mix it up with the big boys. I have nothing to do there. I'm still in the job and working all those hours. It's not possible. I need the time to prepare, which is 2022, and then summer 2023, gonna be doing my first pro race. Can't wait for it, can't wait for the racing, the dynamics, and I heard the pro field is really like a family as well, which is a tricky thing to do, because on the one hand you're trying to rip the head off of the guy in the race and then you're friends after. But I think in a sport like triathlon, where it's not actually physical contact, like in MMA and boxing, it's very different, because you're actually trying to hurt the other person physically. That is not happening in triathlon, so should be easy, can shake hands and have a beer afterwards, but not before, because trying to destroy the other guys in the race. So that's it for this week. I hope you learned something. I thought that topic was quite interesting. I didn't know most of that stuff, so I had to read up on that and get a bit smart about it. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, drop it a like, and I see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can really help me out if you like and subscribe, push your notification bell, comment below what you want to see next, and I see you in the next video.